In today's video, I wanted to discuss the top 3 areas to invest in Q4 of 2025. Now, it's important that when we go to these locations in today's video, these are where I see the strongest fundamentals for growth going into the next few years. And in each of these areas, I'm not talking about every product. I'm specifically looking at certain products and certain units within these areas that I see massive growth for in the future. So let's get to our first location. I'll see you guys there. So we're just here now in Maritime City. This is our first location. And we're not actually specifically talking about this. We're talking about a group of communities, because these 3 areas that you can see from here, sort of the last 3 areas that are undeveloped on the Dubai coastline so far. And it's what is currently the lowest price per square foot and the closest waterfront property to DIFC and the key business districts of Dubai. But before we get into the details, you can see behind me here, that is Dubai Islands over there. You can see the construction over there. There's lots of different developers coming up on Dubai Islands. Then here, we've got Emar's master community, Mina, Rashid. And here, all of this is the Emar master community. This is being removed and it's going to be hotels and residential buildings. But let's get into more of the facts and figures about why these 3 locations are an opportunity for an investor. First of all, we've got to look at it from a scarcity factor. That's the number one thing that we look at when we're analysing a property investment in Dubai. Waterfront property or coastline property in general is less than 7% of the overall supply of units within the Dubai real estate market. Now, you can't keep building coastline property. The coastline's limited. This part, like I said, these 3 locations are some of the last undeveloped communities along the Dubai coastline. And then when you look at the price per square foot compared to the other coastline areas in Dubai, here you're looking at an average of around 3,000 to 4,000 dirhams per square foot. Whereas in the more established communities that are further down the other end of the coastline, you've got the likes of JBR, you've got Blue Waters, you've got Emar Beachfront, Palm Jumeirah. You're looking at upwards of 5,500 to 6,000 dirhams per square foot. But let's zoom out and look at the location of these areas. Now, like I said, these are the closest waterfront communities as well as La Mer to DIFC, Downtown and Business Bay, which are your key major business districts. Now, there is infrastructure coming to these areas with Infinity Bridge that's going to make the commute time for working professionals around 15 minutes to get from DIFC to here. DIFC is the fastest growing financial hub in the world and it's expanding 13 million square foot. So the opportunity and growth that we're seeing in that location here is going to directly benefit from that. Then the fact that it's waterfront as well, it's a coastline property, you've got the tourism aspect. When you look at your tenant demographic, you're going to be thinking working professionals, but you're also looking at tourists. So supply and demand, supply is limited and the demand is subsequently high. So each of these 3 communities, Dubai Islands, Rashid Yachts and Marina and Maritime City where we are now, they're all different in terms of what they're offering to an investor. Now, this location, which is Maritime City, it's got a mixture of different developers, but it's heavily built by Beyond, which is part of Omniat Group. Now, Omniat are ultra luxury developer. They've got the Lana in Business Bay. They've got projects on the Palm that are selling of upwards of 7,000 to 8,000 dirhams per square foot. You're looking at 2-bedroom apartments that are 18, 19 million dirhams. So Omniat have a very luxury background and now they're creating Beyond, which is still part of the Omniat Group, and they're heavily dominating Maritime City. So in terms of quality of construction and creating a community on Maritime City, that's very unique. They're also creating a forest district, which again, that's a unique value proposition that Maritime City has compared to the other 2 locations that we're going to be looking at. So the other location is Mina Rashid or Rashid Yachts and Marina. That's a full Emar master community. Now, if you look at any other Emar master community, Dubai Hills, Downtown, Creek Harbour, they're some of the most sought after communities to be living in because Emar are known for being the best at developing communities. Not necessarily the quality of construction, especially nowadays, but the actual quality of construction, the retail outlets. This is what Emar are known for. Then over that side, you've got Dubai Islands. Dubai Islands has a unique value proposition in the sense that it's got direct beach access. One thing that you have to look at when you're investing into Dubai Islands is the plane noises. I don't know if you can see it from here, but it does have planes that fly over it currently. That's going to be shifting by 2033. When you're investing into Dubai Islands, you have to understand that that might be an off-putting factor for rental yields and resale prices. So my main focus is on these 2 areas with the Emar community and Maritime City, where Beyond is heavily dominating. But let's go to our next location and I'll see you there. So we're here now in a fully renovated villa within a master community, and that's what I want to talk about in this next section of the video, because I see a lot of value, not specifically within a certain area, but more within actual master communities. So let's get into it. So yeah, I want to specifically narrow it down and further focus on premium master communities that are very hard for a developer to replicate. Now I'll explain what I mean by that later on, but first of all, let's look at this from a demand perspective. We must understand the demographic shift recently of the type of people that are moving to Dubai and what they require. Because years ago in Dubai, you would see a lot more couples or individuals moving to Dubai. But now with Dubai appealing to a much bigger audience, families are now relocating here, and as it's a safe place to raise a family. But put this into perspective, in 2005, there were only 6 international schools in Dubai, and now there are over 230 of them, and each of them have big waiting queues to get your children into them. So with this demographic shift, we're now seeing a lot more families that require larger spaces, and that's what they're increasingly choosing. So when we talk about these larger spaces, I want to specifically look at developments which are designed and managed by one master developer. Let me explain what I mean by that. So in Dubai, you'll notice that each location is like a micro market. I've spoke about that in previous videos. Some areas are entirely developed by one developer and planned and aligned with symmetry, efficiency. Take where we are right now, for example, in Arabian Ranches 1. The entire community is developed and managed by one developer, which is Emaar. That means that every individual property, road, shop, amenity is planned to benefit the end user, mainly being the family with children that use the amenities. In this specific master community, you've also got Arabian Ranches golf course, which is something that is very valuable to an end user, but also very hard for a private developer to replicate, purely because it's less profitable and more costly for the developer to include things like a golf course or even lagoons and big open spaces. Not every developer has the capacity to do that. Generally, the less dense a community is, the more expensive it becomes to the developer. Especially now as land prices are increasing, we've seen over the last few months that land prices are on an upwards trajectory. Not only that, but maintaining things like a golf course, lagoons, they become more expensive for a developer. So a lot of them are less inclined to do that. And again, that creates scarcity. And on the flip side of that, it's what the end user wants. Premium communities with amenities, schools, hospitals, malls, even community centers. This is what the demographic is shifting towards, but the supply is becoming more limited within this sector. So as I always speak about, from a scarcity and supply factor, these premium master communities are something that's not only very high in demand, but also very hard for a developer to replicate. And therefore, going into the future, we're not going to see as many as these premium master communities coming up. So where am I looking at this from an investment perspective? These premium communities like Emaar Oasis, which is one of the least dense and premium communities where over 40% of the community is open space and amenities, or even Grand Polo, which has big dedicated open spaces to the equestrian centers, they're examples of something that's very hard to replicate and subsequently valuable to an end user and investor. But as an investor, spotting a quality community is just the first step. Unit selection is where things really start to matter. And let me explain what I mean by that and actually give an example. So when we look at Dubai Hills, specifically in Golf Place, which is another master community, a 7,600 square foot villa bought from Emaar in 2022 for 8.3 million dirhams, sold in July 2024 for 16.5 million dirhams. Basically doubled in value, which is very impressive. But here's the thing, that was an internal unit with no golf course view. Now in the same cluster, Golf Grove in Dubai Hills, a very similar unit bought at the same time was 9.25 million. Now in August 2024, which is the same time that the other one resold, this specific one with a golf course view resold for 27.5 million dirhams. That's nearly triple the value the initial investor bought it at, and it highlights a key point about being selective with choosing the right units within these communities. Or even if we go back and look at the waterfront property, which is what we were looking at in part 1, being waterfront facing, this is going to add value to an investor and an end user, and therefore it creates a more profitable investment. So this is something that we have to consider when we're looking at unit selection, And I've got full reports that we can go into detail further on a Zoom call about the premium master communities and where I really do see value now going into the Q4 of 2025. So you can contact me using my details in the description and we can have a full discussion on these specific premium master communities. Now let's head to the third location, which is again a very exciting opportunity within Expo City. I'll see you guys there. So now we're in our third location. This is Expo City. Now, for those of you that have not heard about this location, this is basically the focal point of the Dubai 2040 master plan. So this is where the government is investing billions. As you can see, it's already quite established, but the one thing that's missing is the residential units. There's no residential units that have handed over yet in this location. Now, another fun fact about Expo is that the Dubai government just released the latest 500 dirham note, and on that 500 dirham note is a picture of Expo City. So you can see the way that the government value Expo City moving into the future and the way that they're positioning this as a new epicenter of Dubai. We've already spoke about in previous videos, the epicenters being downtown and Dubai Marina. Now this is emerging as a new hotspot for investors, a commercial hub, a tourist hub as well, but we'll go into all the details now. So with Expo, one of the key things is that when you're investing into the residential buildings here, because there is none already, usually when you invest into phase one of a community where there is no residential buildings, you're waiting for infrastructure to be developed around the building. So you're waiting for all the commercial space, you're waiting for the metro lines, all of these road connectivity, things like this. This is what you're waiting for when you invest into phase one. Whereas Expo, you can see majority of it is already done. You've got the metro line, you've got the commercial spaces. There's already Emirates, DP World, Siemens, they're already operating here and a lot more are shifting here. In total, there's going to be 40,000 working professionals operating from Expo City. And in terms of residential units, we're looking at less than 5,000 in Expo itself. So again, supply and demand, there's an imbalance in that section. Then we can look at it from a demand factor from tourists and people visiting the exhibition center, because you've got the biggest exhibition center in the Middle East and Africa, which is going to hold over 600 events per year. So in terms of a footfall in this location, it's going to be massive. So when I'm speaking to my investors, we're looking at potential strategies of going down the Airbnb route to target these people that are coming to the expeditions happening in Expo. What you've got to understand is the World Trade Center, which is currently operational behind DIFC, that's shutting down and all of the operations are moving to Expo. And then with Expo itself, it's connected to the Al Maktoum International Airport, which is the biggest airport in the world in the Dubai South region. This is then going to create an easy connectivity for people flying into the city, going to the expeditions, and easy flying back out of the city. It's creating a global hub within Expo City. So again, when we're looking at Expo from an investment angle, the numbers have to stack up. We have to be investing at the right price. And when we look at the price per square foot in Expo compared to, let's say, other hotspots of Dubai, here you're looking at less than 2,000 dirhams per square foot at the moment. And then when you look at downtown DIFC, these are upwards of 4,000 dirhams per square foot. You look at any other hotspot in Dubai that has a footfall like Expo's going to have, you're looking at upwards of 4,000 dirhams per square foot. So that's where the opportunity lies. Obviously, I can show you guys reports. If you reach out to me and use my details in the description, we can book a one-on-one call. We have full reports on why the numbers stack up for Expo, the footfall, the future growth potential that this area has. But for now, we've already discussed the top 3 areas that I see future growth potential in no specific order. All 3 areas have huge growth fundamentals heading into Q4 of 2025. And if you guys want more information, you can contact me using the link in the description and we can have a full one-on-one consultation.